Hello everyone and welcome to the Rocket Review. It's the 2nd or 3rd of October 2013 and we're here at Segura Bar on County Road in Walton. We were due to go live tonight but there's been a bit of a technical problem, so we're just recording the show now and then hopefully you'll all be enjoying it and you can treat it as live anyway. Joined tonight by two regular guests with us. We've got Stephen Martin. Say hello, Steve.
Evening.
And we've got Graham Smith.
Hi Paul. Hello Steve.
Alright mate.
Say hello to Graham.
Hi Graham.
Good manners cost nothing, do
It
you know what I mean?
Nothing, yeah.
We haven't had a Rocket Review for the last couple of weeks for various reasons, and we haven't had a JV Graham show because either Graham's off on his yacht off Saint-Tropez or Jay's off trying to throw the government out. But we're here tonight, we've got quite a lot to catch up on, so we're going to get straight into it. And I'm going to speak first of all to Steve and say, Steve, Man United away in the Carling Cup. What did you make of the performance first of all?
I thought it was positive in patches, but it was a lot like when United come to Anfield. They got to the final third and stopped, and so did we to a degree. You know, Studders didn't look as himself, he didn't look fit. I'm surprised he even played, to be fair. I thought he was due a rest. Suarez, it was his first game back. You know, it was little glimpses. The formation was a lot better and a lot more stable than what Southampton was. We were that rigid against Southampton. They pressed that high up against the pitch, it just stopped us playing. So when United come and he went to the wing backs, we were a bit more balanced, and Enrique had that much space. If that was a half decent left back, we'd have created something a bit more. Because he turns like the Titanic, doesn't he? Let's be honest about it. You get the ball and he doesn't know what to do with it. He just barges through people. He's got no great quality, and then he'll put 1 out of 10 in a box, which I Suarez a goal against Newcastle last year where it come off.
So in that context, you like the formation but you don't like Enrique.
It's not so much Enrique, because I've been banging about wing backs for years. We've got players in the club that suit the formation. Now you take Mose out that side and put Coutinho in, it's a different animal altogether again. Because Mose just got that much space and he looked okay, but he never done nothing great. Never created nothing where Coutinho would have. Yeah. You know, I know he had the header, which was a good save, and another day goes anywhere else on the goal he'll score. But there was glimpses there, you can see it fitting, you can see it working. Just get a few more bodies in place, what will make the formation a lot better, and the team will benefit from it.
I actually thought on the night in the ground, I thought we played really well. They had a good start. The first 10 minutes they put us under a bit of pressure. Once we got the ball down and started knocking it around, as we have done in the past, we just played them off the park. For the rest of the first half, I thought they were really struggling to get near us. We created 1 or 2 bit better than half chances which we couldn't convert. They got the goal that settled them down, but then in the second half I just thought we came on really strong, and I thought we were really unlucky. We probably just lacked a bit of composure in front of goal.
I'm not totally sure about that, Paul. I think you're right about the last 20 minutes of the first half. That was the time we were on top, and that's when, you know,
30 minutes I said.
All right, 30 minutes. I'm going to say 25, but I think the reality was that's when really top class sides put other sides away. Yeah. And I think that's going to be our worry this year, because we've had that a couple of times where we've not really put sides away when we've been on top. Yeah. Enrique, I agree with you, Steve. He's a 3-second player to me. Once he's got the ball, I want him to get rid of it within 3 seconds, because if he has it more than 3 seconds, he'll tend to lose it. Because suddenly he's off and he's away and he's turning around in circles, he's getting on his right foot, and it's just like he's lost all idea of. And to me, get the ball, just give it away to someone better than you, which is anybody else in the team.
I feel sorry for him because he does some things so well. I mean, the amount of times he gets caught out of position, but his patience, then he'll get him back in it and he'll win the ball, and it'll kill the attack. But going forward, he gets into so many good positions. Even, you know, you can rattle off the top of your head, Cole, you know, the kid at Swansea, the kid at Southampton, if they're Baines, in that position, even Baines, you're getting quality out of him. Where Enrique stutters, and the chance is gone.
But realistically, he's a squad player, isn't he?
At best. But at the minute, he's the best we've got, so what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I suspect Sissoko will get a good run to see if he can be better than him. And if not, we'll still be looking to replace him, because he's not
the answer, he's not the long-term solution.
Well, I think that's evidently clear from Rodgers' team selection at home against Southampton, where he
didn't he pick him, did he?
No, he brings Sissoko in. Sissoko straight away gets injured in the previous game, and then he still doesn't bring Enrique back. He brings Sakho in as a left back to cover for him, and then eventually did bring Enrique on. I think he's about being a little bit harsh about him, to be fair. I think he's physically he's very, very strong. I think he's very good recovering. He gets his body in when he's got the ball. Yeah, he's not the greatest silky footballer going forward. I actually think he's been slightly hard done to, not only here on this table, but by Brendan Rodgers as well.
No, I don't agree, Paul. I think also the other thing about him is he's a little bit of a liability. with the player in the corner by the corner flag with his back to our goal, and suddenly he's in the paddock, isn't he? And it's a free kick. Well, that's what happens.
And a couple of times he loses the ball and actually puts us in a dangerous spot.
I think it's the most frustrating thing with him. He does that many good things and you think, you know what, he actually looks half decent there. And then the basic things, he just gets wrong and then blames someone else for it. You know, take a bit of responsibility for yourself, lad. If you're going to give the ball away, at least say sorry, or at least acknowledge it instead of just trying to blame someone for not moving in a space where you kick the ball 20 yards further and the player was never going to get it.
The other place that we struggled, and you mentioned it already, was although Suarez was physically fit, he wasn't match fit, was he? He wasn't sharp.
At Old Trafford, was still sore.
At Old Trafford, yeah. And as you say, quite clearly, Sturridge seemed to be sort of at 80%.
I mean, Sturridge should have been locked up in Cotton Wall and sat at home. He should have been nowhere near that pitch. I mean, I know it was a big game and everyone wants to go there and win, but the kid is physically injured or he's not. He can't play week in, week out. He's never done it in any previous teams, so why Brendan keeps on picking him? Just let him have a night off. But just put him in the stands and give him, just say, you know what, lad, you've done that well for us. Have the night off.
But as well as we played, I still think, and it will be a recurring theme when we talk about this right through this, well, maybe till January, is the central midfield. I mean, everyone's talking about it, I think, and it's just a real worry and a real concern.
Well, what we'll do for tonight, Graham, is I'll put that in the list actually, because we want to talk about it as a whole, because it was equally as much a problem especially against Southampton at home and Sunderland away as well. So we'll talk about that as well. Just going back to Enrique, did anyone notice when the ball came across to him from in the second half and Gerrard was trying to run around the outside, right on the edge of Man United's box, and Enrique took a shot on a volley which flew high and wide, and Gerrard absolutely went ballistic at him, right, no hiding it, calling them all the names under the sun. And it took me back slightly to what Carragher's comments. I just stopped talking to Enrique on the pitch because he's an empty head. And I got the impression off Gerrard, that's the case. The fella's just an empty head. He's just a big beast, and he wants to just hold people off and show his physique off and whatever. But I still think he's a bit harsh on him.
I mean, that's all well and good. And as I say, that is one of his positives. And he's he's not an average footballer. He's a bit better than that. But if you want to actually go on and win bigger and better things, you do need better than Jose Enrique. And hopefully, Sissoko was very unlucky getting an injury when he coming against Notts County. And he might be playing now and we might not be having this conversation. But at the time being, it's the best we've got, and it's going to be a bit of a head wrecker for the rest of the season, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing about the game is when you look at them,
they are average, aren't
they? They've sort of disappeared as a side, haven't they? It seems to be
Man United.
In the first few games of the season, totally different animal. Totally different animal.
Yeah. I mean, for well and good. I mean, could all you say about David Moyes and what he done at Everton and whatever else, and he done a good job at Everton because that is his level. He's gone to a total different beast at United there. And for a while, Ferguson might have got out at the right time because you can see their agent and he physically can't keep winning them 12 points a season by being Alex Ferguson. It's getting shown up now, and that's been the case for years.
There's a school of thought growing now amongst the travelling contingent on coaches that Ferguson chose Moyes specifically because he didn't want to be outshone, he didn't want Mourinho to have the job, he didn't want someone to come in and start winning the league, continue where he left off. It almost as if this is my legacy and it's going to end now.
Lads on the coaches are great, but I don't believe that for a second. I think what's more likely is...
Yeah, it's good to talk about though.
Well, it is, but I think what's more likely that's happened is there's a recognition that he's come in and that whoever the next manager was going to be was doomed, absolutely doomed to fail
from the start.
So that's why they wouldn't try a Guardiola or a Mourinho or a real top European manager. They might as well have a bit of a sacrificial lamb for a couple of years, and then someone goes Klopp or somebody comes.
Do you think they'll get a couple of years? I don't think
United. I hope so. I think they will. I think they're pig-headed enough to do that.
Is that because the people who are still on the board are in? But I don't think the fans will stand for it. I don't.
Well, there's that. But I mean, you've got Ferguson sitting there on the board. How does he look if he says, I wanted this fella to get the job, and then he's stabbing him in the back within
after 3 months or 6 months?
I don't think he'll care.
I'm sure he doesn't care, but
the other factor, something else that doesn't care, is the board of Manchester United don't give a shit what the fans think. That's a proven historical fact. So the fans can vote with their feet, stomp around, shout, wear green and yellow scarves, or whatever they want to do.
What's more likely is over in America, the Glazers will just say, get rid. Because if there's a chance that they're 5th or the 6th coming into sort of March, or even end up 5th or 6th and don't get in the
Champions League,
gone. Because they just can't afford not to be in it.
I mean,
very length of time.
Even Moyes, he signed Fellaini, and let's have it right, he was a 7th choice signing. you know, no one wanted to go and play for him. Now, what did they say about Manchester United or whatever? Ferguson went to get a player, he went, okay, sound. He didn't even bat an eyelid. You know, I can't see David Moyes going to Van Persie, I want you to play this way now. It's just not happening, is it?
You just look at him and laugh, wouldn't
It's just not happening.
Well, thankfully it is happening. And I don't want him sacked too soon. You know,
no, let's enjoy the ride while it's going along.
I think a season is a fair amount of time for Mr. Moyes to be assessed.
Agent
Moyes to be assessed. And to be found completely wanting something like that we knew about Hodgson, and we also know about Moyes, and unfortunately other people have to learn from their own mistakes.
It's got real sort of resonance to Hodgson, hasn't it? Some of the things he's coming out with about dampening expectations.
We're not good. We haven't got world-class players.
Yeah, we can't do this. We can't do that.
The one the other day when he said, was the league that good last year that United could win it? I'm just thinking, no, you can't say that. You can get away with saying that.
You know it is the truth, but
yeah, but you can't say them. When you're at a bigger club than what you previously got, you get found out by things like that.
You do.
It's just not football logic, is it?
But it's just
something like that.
They were there. That 20-30 minutes, they were just there, weren't they? And I think if we
goal.
got one ahead,
a goal. Well, even not one ahead. I mean, I think if Moses, as Steve's alluded to, that header goes anywhere else, it's 1-1. Yeah. And they're on their arse then, and we are flying on for them, even extra time or penalties. But at the end of the day, it was only the Carling Cup. It would have been nice to turn him over on their patch and add to his woes, but it wasn't to be. So
I think Henderson's chance was the one for me as well. He done everything right, didn't he? Opened his body up, didn't swat it, just tried to put in the corner. And another day, he could have took a nick off a defender, having the far corner. Yeah. You know, that was the one, because you were on top at that point.
Yeah.
Now, was there any... I'm not sure if there was, Steve, so it put me right if there wasn't. Was there any issues? Because I know that Spirit of Shankly were working closely with Manchester Police before the game. What any issues arise?
There was we had a couple of meetings with Greater Manchester Police in the past few years and sorted out about the toilet issue and whatever else. The problem with the bigger allocation was the GMP drafted in police from Yorkshire, Bury and a few other places, and they never got their briefing basically. And some blocks were getting let out to go to the toilet, other blocks weren't, and the police just didn't know what to say. I tried to speak to one of them and eventually gave in, because I showed them the email what we had of the GMP. Now, we put these statements out there for fans to have. Now, if the fans don't have them to hand, they're not fighting losing battle, but all it takes is just have it download on your phone. We do these things to help fans, so these things do is help themselves by having it there in the presence. Obviously, it's easy said than done, because some phones don't carry it, but 89-90% of people now do all have.
But that's happening. But the league games seem to be okay because it's a smaller allocation and it's just GMP generally, isn't it? But the bigger allocations, and you drag all these lads, and they're not briefing properly. So the last time we had the cup game there, that happened, was that 3 or 4 years ago? Exactly the same thing happened. It was all inconsistent policing.
Where we were, which was block 131, which is actually where the main allocation probably would have been for a normal league game. And we had Steve Mono in there as well, funnily enough, and Big Martin, who he's a bolt now, decided to go to the toilet about 5 or 10 minutes ago. Got told no, they were blocking it all the exits off.
Was he going for a 1 or a 2?
I didn't ask, to be honest, because the toilets...
That could be quite relevant.
The toilets had already been smashed up by us for some reason. I don't fucking know why. Some walls had smashed it up. But the interesting point about this was, he argued the point, tried to do it in the right way, as Stephen said. I don't think he had the email, but was saying, no, we've been told, blah, blah, blah. And he said a policeman who had no numbers on, his numbers covered up by a mesh vest with a Scouse accent, said to him literally these words: "If you don't shut up, I'm going to kick your fucking head in." And Martin went, "Whoa, I'm only... do you really think that's appropriate for you to talk to me like that? I'm having a decent conversation with you, and you're going to kick me fucking head in." And he said, "Well, I'll tell you what then. You come down here onto the concourse with me, just me and you, and we'll have a chat about it."
So he was like offering him out?
Offered them out twice. And Martin was just like flabbergasted and couldn't believe it. And
obviously not shit out.
Yeah, shit out. But it was just so amazing, you know. And he said the numbers were covered up, and it felt like as though he was the hit squad.
Yeah.
If there's any shit in this area, you pile in, smash it, crack a few heads, drag a few people out, and then we'll come later and go, what?
Yeah.
But anyway, it was interesting. So overall, Greater Manchester Police, then you give them a bit of credit for trying to sort it, but a failure on the briefing front.
It's practical again.
You know, I think out of everything that we brought up to Greater Manchester Police, even like the banners, you know. We had the thing with Ben, he was the starting at the time, and he physically waited for our coach to come in because he knew we had the banners, let the lads in, waited for us, took us straight to the front of the queue, got us in with the banners, and the lads have the banners up. was at the famous cop-out about the upper tier. Now that was only because of that meeting. But then lads signed them banners in just normally.
Generally, no chance.
It's not happening. So there's certain things you can take, okay, yeah, they do everything, but the most important things in briefing what come out of that meeting, the way we did put on our side, they failed. So you can say, yeah, they done well, but they could do so much more. It's just a basic story.
The other thing again, it's a bunch of lads and girls from the union sorting this out.
Yeah.
Where's the club?
Yeah, don't give a shit.
Well, they just don't. You know, I'm sure they. You know, I'm sure Pointing and the rest of them are getting briefings or whatever, but they're getting briefings about the safety. I mean, quite rightly about the safety and the public order issues, but not about the customer care, about making the experience of going the game better.
Yeah.
You know, and it's left to the union to sort that out.
I don't even think it's, you know, the union's there to benefit everyone. Now, if people don't buy into that, you know, we can't do much more after 5 years. But little things like that, it just helps.
Makes a difference.
It helps, you know. You're paying 50 quid, 60 quid to go to a game of footy. You want to enjoy it as best you can. Do you know what I mean? And, yeah, while we're on the topic of the union, just a hat, scarf and a cap, is it?
Hat, scarf, a badge.
Hat, scarf, a badge, sorry mate.
A scarf, head, socks, shoes.
SOS merchandise is available from our official retailer. There's t-shirts there, $17.99.
There's not many left,
sizes.
is there? Not many left, is there?
500 done, we're down to the last 10.
That better not be true.
So you make sure.
Anfield FM merchandise sitting there on the shelf like a poor Alf, and a 40-year-old spinster. And just to say, you might recognise this voice. Hat, scarf for a badge. Because that's me, I did it for the adverts as well. We couldn't get a Scouse fella to do Mitch adverts on Anfield FM. So yeah, get down to hat, scarf and badge, because there's a full range of Spirit of Shankly merchandise there for you to...
But it's got good stuff, other stuff.
Well.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant, mate. Great stuff. Yeah, just by the flat iron it is. All right, so, you know, that was disappointing, but I don't think anyone was really that harsh when we come away from there. We just, you know, you wanted to beat them, that's all. But moving swiftly on to the Sunday and Sunderland away. Now, there's a number of issues raised from the Sunderland game, but let's talk football first. Out of 10, Graham, what would you give that performance?
I'm going to give it a 7. Just about a 7. And I'm being a bit harsh, I know, but again, I just felt that second half performance, we just fell off again. And a better side. I mean, they were huffing and puffing. You know, they were playing for themselves and the supporters because of what had gone on the week before with them. But they were no good. They were absolutely garbage. We should, you know, could have been 2 or 3. Well, could have been 3 or 4 at half time. We put them away, end of the game. But we let them back in. Better sides would have really punished us, I think, in that sort of 25-minute period of the second half. And of course, when they're pushing in the last 15, we got a couple of chances and we slot. But I don't want to be too overcritical because, of course, the title progress, it's on.
It's on. 7 out of 10, Steve?
No, I think I'd give us an 8, to be fair. I think my most worrying thing is, you know, people say Brendan compares well to Mourinho. Now, when Mourinho gets 2-0 up at Chelsea, he kills the game off. He says, right, Dad, you've done a job now. We're in no position to do that because we're not that good at what Chelsea were. Now, if Rodgers has got that mentality to say that once you get a lead, keep it. No, just go and kill off Villa.
Houllier did it. And Houllier side's no better than this side, I think.
I don't know, I think... Yeah,
we lots of forward lead, we changed it around, we had 2 back. We do it 1-0 up.
In fairness, though, Houllier did that very successfully with the side that had developed and hit the peak around 2001, 2002. Rodgers is still a work in progress.
Definitely.
He's still adding 2 players every transfer window.
Point.
So I'm not really against doing that once you're 2-0 up, kill the game. I haven't got a problem with it, but we're just not good enough to do it.
Yeah.
And that game, it didn't really show it on the telly, but Sunderland's equalising goal came from our goal kick. Mignolet passes it out to Moses, sloppy touch, gets it took off him in our third.
He rolled it to him. He rolled it to his feet.
Did he? Gets it took off him in our third, gets knocked out wide, comes back in, bang,
everyone backs off.
Everyone backs off, gives him a free shot. Mignolet does okay with the shot, no one's following in because we're too. It's a mentality thing. It's like with sort, these are crap and we're too good for them. But then once that goal went in, especially that little Italian Giaccherini or whatever, they looked a dangerous side for 5 or 10 minutes then, either side of the goal.
What type of scooter?
Giaccherini.
Giaccherini.
You got to say it with the accent. Giaccherini. Mamma mia.
It's either a scooter or a pizza.
I was doing the hand movements then as well.
The funds.
So are we now, Paul.
Yeah. Can't tell you what those hand movements were, listeners. But ultimately, it was 3 good away points, which took us... in the space of the previous weekend, we went from 1st to 5th, and in another weekend, we went from 5th to 2nd. So, you know, it's interesting how this league is already developing.
The worry with a small W is, you know, we've had a reasonably good start.
Good start?
No, in the sense of the fixtures.
Right,
who we've
okay.
had to play.
Yeah.
You know, and we're going to get much sterner tests than this. And I think, you know, as much as I'm loving talking about Lucas scoring the winning goal against somebody in March to seal the title with 3 games to go.
Well, we're getting on to Lucas. Don't start on Lucas just yet.
I think we've got to be just a little bit concerned about this midfield.
Yeah, I think my only thing is, you know, I think Glenn Johnson's massive to the side.
Definitely, yeah.
The way we operate at the minute, you know, Henderson is quality. People have their own opinions, but to me, he's a vital part of the way we play because we need his legs to do yards running. That's Dick Cleveland will see. But you get Jen Johnson back on that side, it'll be so much more balanced. It'll give us an option going forward. I.e. the Chelsea goal I see in Stamford Bridge. Well, sorry, the year before that when Charlie Adam painted out to him. You know,
And if Sissoko's a bit more of a Johnson than an Enrique, that's even better.
You know, it balances out that formation, the 3-5-2, the wing backs, or whatever you want to call it. The squad of players we've got fit that formation. Do you know what I mean? Because you can have Sturridge up by himself, then you put Suarez and Coutinho in behind him. It's frightening, isn't it? It sounds promising, it looks good.
What's going to be interesting on Saturday, isn't it, is that with Lucas banned, presumably Henderson gets rammed inside, and I don't know, Wisdom comes in on the right, I don't know.
If that's the case, it's just with Enrique on the right hand side, isn't it? Because I don't think Wisdom gives you anything else going forward.
No, but who else have we got?
We haven't. We're not with
Kelly's easing his way back.
We've got loads of centre halves. Should we put a centre half? Oh, Wisdom is one. There you go.
You know, even John Flanagan, can he drop the game?
Still in,
You know, this is where, you know, like I said in Conor Cody out on loan.
Yeah.
You know, either be ideal. That United game for the last 20 minutes. Just throw him in, give him a bit of experience.
Well, actually, just going back to the United game, that was one big error that I thought he made, putting Kelly on. Kelly clearly wasn't fit, or if he was fit, he certainly wasn't attuned to being thrown into that kind of game where we were chasing, and it was I thought that was pretty poor, but that's by the by. Just finishing off on Sunderland, good 3 away points, bit of a problem on the way home.
Evidently, yeah.
Has this been reported to the union, or not?
I've not heard that it's sort of gone that way. I mean, I understand, and it's probably best just to pause it for now and just see what comes out of it. Is that, you know, clearly I think there's a few feelings going on because we're back up there in a few weeks' time, aren't we?
Yeah.
About what happened. I mean, you can't judge it. I wasn't there, none of us were there, I suppose, but you can't judge what's happened. But the fact, if anyone's been offended by what's happened, it's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
If we've caused it. If we haven't caused it, you react to what goes on.
I think, in fairness, we did cause it. Someone has let off a smoke bomb in the social club that's been the most accommodating to us for half a decade. So that's just ridiculously stupid, isn't it, to do that?
I think, from my point of view on that issue, is the lads were setting up with it. I mean, that Morial and Petting the whole, let's be honest about it, that got a lot of effort got put into that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And everyone who made that possible should feel basically shit on. Play a gang of kids trying to have a good time, but there's a time and a place for it, and that's certainly.
But I suspect if it happened here, and then people from Sunderland made some feelings bad, said, you know what, it was a one-off, and people and we're sorry. Yeah. You'd accept the apology, and you'd say, well, and also there's ways you can do it. You can say, well, you know what, your coach can come. Yeah. You're welcome. Your coach is welcome. Because we know you. Yeah. But presumably these were people. I don't know if these were people on coaches were recognised. I don't know. No, it's a shame, isn't it? Yeah. I'd say we can't. I don't think we can go to get much detail because I personally don't know what happened. No, I don't know. You only read them what's on the forum and whatever else, and you know how that place is at the minute. So.
Well. Hopefully it'll get sorted, if for no other reason than I want all my Sunderland claims to go through from 2011, and if some scumbags kick that in the balls, then there's questions to be asked. Okay, we've talked about the midfield now, so before we go on to Palace, Graham, I know you've got a big bee in your bonnet about Lucas, so go on, hit it.
No, but I've got I think that the lad has just never got over that injury. He just really hasn't. But it's not just him, it's the combination of him and Gerrard. I think everybody can see it, is that, come 60 minutes, we seem to, the legs seem to go. Gerrard's recovery coming back, I made a point of watching them against Sunderland, when attacks broke down, or where he was like one side of the pitch, say, on the halfway line, he's strolling, there's a bit of strolling going on, and I think he's sort of catch his breath, his legs aren't there. Yeah. And Lucas, I think the real key in it, 5 bookings in 6 games. No. That sort of talks to me about somebody who's just slightly off the pace.
Yeah, I mean, that's been relevant for a couple of seasons, and, that's ever right, basically before that Chelsea injury, he was an instrumental part of that team. Yeah. He really wasn't.
He's not the same player.
No, of course he's not. Look at Torres after his World Cup injury. It happens. Injuries do ruin players, and it's sad to see. The saddest thing is though, the manager can't see it.
He must,
But at the minute, there's no one else.
but they must see it. They must see it because they've got all the technology. They'll know about. They can compare figures from 3 years ago. They'll have statistics from years ago about how far they're running, how fast they're running. You know, the intensity, the heart rates, all this sort of stuff.
Why did you keep playing them?
Because I think what you've just said. What's the alternative?
Alternative.
He's using Henderson. He's using Henderson as a job man,
Yeah.
and he's got a job man. He has to because he's such a.
He's got to fill a hole everywhere.
You go the wing back, right? You go central mid. You go here. You go
Whenever we need a bit of legs. It was interesting in the Southampton game at home, sitting up there watching it from quite high. He actually had Gerrard, believe it or not. He had Gerrard in the holding midfield position with Henderson and Lucas in advance. He plays this triangle, doesn't he, in the centre? Flips it. Well, he'd flipped it for the second half, obviously. But it was Gerrard who was sitting the most deep, but Lucas was actually pushed in advance.
But would you be surprised to see that's what happens on Saturday?
I'd be amazed.
That Gerrard sits in Lucas's position.
I mean, let's be honest about it. You know,
Because he hasn't got the legs.
You
You can get away with your legs there a little bit.
Well, you can, but bear in mind, in that formation he plays, he also plays someone at the front of the triangle, which is the Coutinho position, or at the moment the Moses position. And Gerrard is another option for that, because that doesn't need anything like as much legs. He's perfect for that position.
Who's going to come in for Lucas?
I was just going to say, well, it's coming in for Gerrard's position, and really
I'm
going
to throw this in there, but I think Danny Alves will do it. I personally think he could, because he can pass a ball, he can tackle mostly. It's good as what Skrtel can. And if you just tell him to sit and not bomb around the pitch for the stopgap, I think he could do okay.
I think it's a bit football manager that stage, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think what you're more likely to see is someone like Alberto come in.
Yeah.
And just play him further forward and drop your back on. It's a possibility, but you know, they're like.
Well, it could be a much worse fixture to have this problem.
Yeah.
You know,
and have a little
they're
look.
seconds at bottom, aren't they?
Yeah. Have a little look. The long, well, not the long term, but it's the short term, long term solution is Xavi Alonso on the 1st of January is available on a free transfer. Would hopefully want to come back to Liverpool, bring him back to play the holding position. Then you've got anyone you want to in the inverted triangle above him to go and attack. Alonso
He'll be 32 this time.
Yeah.
And listen, and how old is Colo? And how old was Gary Mack?
Well, hang on. I mean, two completely different examples. That.
Well, Gary Mack's not a different example.
Colo is a complete athlete. He's a real top athlete. Gary Mack, I think it was 2 or 3 yards his end, and I accept that.
Not of Alonso, he's not.
That's a reasonable. No, I'm going to agree with you. That's a reasonable comparison.
Yeah,
about
Gary
that.
Mack is.
I think you've got to bring Alonso back in. I mean, we're saying there's no legs in there now. I mean, once Alonso broke his leg, was it Lampard's tackle? He lost his yard the place. The actual pace of the Premiership now has gone up another notch. That's why Lucas is struggling. Another reason for it.
Rodgers won't do it.
We can't afford to have
Rodgers won't do it.
Alonso, Gerrard, and Lucas.
Rodgers won't do it, and FSG won't do it.
Well, FSG might do it because they just got Torre on a free who's older.
I mean, that's
What do you reckon his wages are?
yeah, 70 grand compared to Gallagher's 95, isn't it? You know,
That's the man. I'm telling you now, having watched Alonso, as we all did, that, especially in that 2009 season where he was just absolutely majestic in exactly that position.
I love his bones, and I'd love us to turn the clock back and get the 2009 Alonso.
I'd rather get Mascherano.
But I think, well, that's another one, but I think what's more
Yeah,
realistic...
get them both back. That's not a bad shout.
What's more realistic is someone will appear in January from somewhere in Europe who's 23 or 24 years of age.
6'4",
Yeah.
16 stone,
Yeah.
and
Probably black.
I
Which
didn't
is
know
a
whether
good
we
thing.
could say it.
Well, no, because it's athletic.
Athletic,
That's what I'm getting at.
no, you're thinking about that. What the Messi end on the job? What are you saying about Alonso?
You say Messi?
SES.
Well, Messi did as well.
No, what are you saying? You're saying about playing in that position. Yeah. He was never having a game in Chelsea, was he?
But that's what we're needing, aren't we? We're needing that sort of enforcer.
And going back to the Southampton game, Wanyama, only 22, the size of him on the pitch, the size of his shoulders, and he never got out of first gear. We never put him in a position where he had to struggle. He just dominated that.
I'm sure there's all these players. I'm sure Wanyama was looked at. There was
Diarmi.
Was he looked at?
Yeah.
You know, and presumably they've been looked at and dismissed for whatever reason that they don't fit what he wants.
Yeah. And Xavi Alonso would.
Well, I wouldn't disagree, but I just don't think it's a Liverpool 2013-14.
I think everything's moved on. I think the Premier League's moved
Yes.
on. I think it's hard, I said it before, it's hard reason why Lucas is struggling so much because the game has gone up a notch and he's lost his
We've
yard.
got to upgrade on Lucas as the enforcer in the centre there, haven't we? We've got to get somebody who's going to get the foot in. Don't have to be. It's like
Joey Barnes available.
It's like Mascherano was, and he was another 3-second player who was like kick somebody, get the ball, and give it to someone better than you, which was anybody else in the team.
Which is well, isn't it?
Well, again, yeah.
Yeah, that sort of player.
Problem
isn't
was
it?
Mascherano could do a 10-yard pass. Sissoko couldn't do a 3-yard pass.
No, but I'm saying someone to break up the play like that,
Yeah.
he's just going to run around, kick a few people, upset people.
And then
but
give it to the creative players.
And I tell you who's good on the left as well, Albert Riera. That's a player who could do a job for us as well. It's going back to 2009. Okay, so no to Xabi Alonso. Well, I'm saying yeah, and it's my opinion counts. So
I'd like him back just for the romance of it.
Yeah.
just I don't know what he's
I
talking
like him
about.
back just for the song.
Back from 2009. The fella, I watch him every... well, not at the moment, he's injured, but last season, the fella's majestic. Playing in a CAC Real Madrid team, which was just trying to get the ball to Ronaldo.
Yeah.
That fella can play in the Premier League, I've got no doubt. Anyway, do we know anything about Crystal Palace?
Holloway presumably will be running up and down. I think he's had a ban, hasn't he? But he's back.
He's
back
been
on
in the stands.
In the stands, yeah. So he's back.
And they got Adolf. They played really terrible against Cardiff at home. I think it was Cardiff or someone battered them at home.
Yeah.
And then on the
Spurs
weekend,
beat them, haven't they?
Spurs beat them. And then at this weekend, something bad happened to them.
The Hull against Hull. Can't remember.
Don't know. But anyway,
Should've done some
the
research.
Crystal Palace are the second from bottom.
Yeah.
And so Liverpool should, in theory, be able to go out and play them off the park and keep us in our at least in our second position.
Should do.
So Arsenal, I might add, are away at West Bromwich Albion.
Well, United, for what it's worth, in their relegation strap, they're away. Chelsea are away, and Arsenal are away. So,
Where did Everton? They're fourth at the minute, but who are they playing at the weekend? They'll have to play someone soon. All right then. Someone's mentioned something about Brendan Rodgers' tactic struck. What was that all about, Steve?
Paul Jones, BHB, put on the floor, and about this 3-5-2, there's nothing going to stop us from winning the league. Now, I don't know whether that's just a Welsh air getting to his head or what, but as I said before, the squad fits in this 3-5-2, and we get the players back in who are injured at the minute, and it fits. You know, you can go back, the first time he played this 3-5-2 was Goodison last year, in the derby, second half. We were winning 2-0, got it back to 2-2. Second half, he put Quater centre half, and Henderson played right wing back. You know, that was... He done that then when people didn't expect him to do it. So going to Southampton, we're playing 4 centre halves across the back. I don't think any person going that game would have even a thought to play 4 at the back like that. Cole Torley playing right back is just not happening, is it really?
No.
You know, Sacco looked like Jimmy Traore, but on ice. You know, it made completely no sense. The 3-5-2, screen at them, play it then and get it bedded in, instead of trying to do it in a cup and to get the results off the bag.
I think the only thing you've got to think about, I mean, I agree with you, I think he'll play the same tactics, but I think in this day and age, we'll see different tactical setups during the season. We're not going to be wedded to 3-5-2 forever and ever now.
No, of course,
you shouldn't do, because you've got to be, you're playing a different team or whatever.
Well, what, on that point, I mean, it's a good thing it's in Brendan's favour, because he was wedded to 4-3-3.
Yeah.
Well, 4-3-3 is what he actually came in with. And it doesn't work for the Liverpool team, because he understands that Liverpool can't knock the ball around for 60 minutes around the back and just pulling the other team out. Liverpool have got to go for teams at home. And he changed it to 4-2-3-1, as you say, Steve. That, that's a Benitez formation. It was great. And now he seems to have adapted again to 3-5-2. Yeah. So I'm delighted at that, and it shows that he's, he's flexible. He's flexible.
I don't think he's adapted to it. I don't think he's had no option. He tried that 4 at the back, and Southampton, to give him all the credit in the world, he pushed that high up on the pitch. It just stopped us playing. Because Sissoko was crap on the ball. Martin Scales never been great on the ball. Danny Agger wasn't fit. They pressed that high up the pitch with I forgot that
Rodriguez,
Lambert,
Osvaldo,
and the kid on the wing is absolutely class.
Sure.
Now the other Lalana, he's absolutely top drawer. He won't be there much longer.
And it was Southampton who beat Palace last week. Yeah. Palace went to Southampton, got beat 2-0.
Correct. Well done, Graham.
As I say, they pressed that high up the pitch, and as I say, the 2 centre midfielders just had a stroll in the park, didn't he? And he most probably could have won 2-3 maybe.
Well, they took a very continental approach, i.e. their manager, by not going for the jugular. It was very un-English like for them to sit back on their 1-0 win and just go, we're happy with this, we'll just take the piss. It was a training game for them for the last 10 minutes.
I don't think that was down to the continental thing. I just think that was just down the players they had on the pitch. Well, they had a formation more fitted.
And the players we had on the pitch was we couldn't press the ball. We had no energy to go and get the ball and get it off.
And obviously it wasn't Studge's best game, but it was again, you're relying on Studge, what we relied on Torres and Suarez. If they don't perform, we ain't scoring goals.
Because there's nothing coming from anyone else.
No.
Is there?
You know, Gerrard's going to get it. He got 5 penalties this year.
Well, moving on then to the next thing is Victor Moses is one example of new players bedding in. You're talking about Sturridge and Suarez. If they don't score, we're not going to see a goal. He scored on his debut. I think he slightly slipped a notch in the next 2 games. But Moses looks as though he can add something, but I'm not sure what it is.
He'll be good left wing, but anything else than that, I don't think he's got the actual football brain to play in that whole at the minute. Because the amount of space he had against United, I say that's because scored 3 or 4.
There was talk when we signed him on loan that he can play through the middle as well. I mean, he'll only play through the middle if we've got about 5 injuries, won't we?
Well,
because as you say, Steve, he's a left winger.
Well, he played left wing against Southampton. He was absolutely atrocious. His 2 better performances for me
were coming in,
were more sensible.
Could he do job left wing back?
Man U. Sorry?
Could he do job left wing back?
No.
No?
No defensive qualities at all. No.
It's like I mean, Sterling would be a disaster there. Sterling on the right as well.
And talk about Sterling, we're talking about new signings bedding in, but Sterling actually, since he's had a couple of substitute appearances, and he just looks like a rabbit caught in the headlights. He looks like he's had no experience of the first team at all.
It's like second season syndrome without having the first season.
Yeah. Without having it, I mean, you know, he played about 3 good games, didn't he, when he first opened his side? And I just think that was because no one knew nothing about him.
You know, there was that, and also I think there was a feeling, oh great, we've got some young lad here. And it was almost like, you know, we were all looking at him with rose-tinted spectacles thinking how great he was. And he's got a lot of work to do to crack it for me.
I mean, I think, well, obviously you have the person, I think John Narby's a better prospect, just because of his physique.
Yeah.
I think he'd be able to muscle it a bit more than what Sterling will, but I just don't see it. I physically don't. I don't see why he's anywhere near the England side.
New signings, the goalie, Jekyll and Hyde to me, Jekyll and Hyde. Actually, but the Hyde, which is the nice side of it, is absolutely brilliant. He's shop stopping. I mean, he's already probably made us 4 or 5 points, hasn't he? At least.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Jekyll and Hyde, Graham. I think what you've just touched on is right. It's not 2 personalities. No. Shot stopping,
fine.
Top of the league, absolutely brilliant. And made us points.
Handling
and coming for crosses.
Well, and the other thing in our game, which is more important, is a football goalie. It's not a football goalie.
No. It's just another David James.
Which is shocking, really, to think that Brendan went out and bought him. Because obviously that's a big part of his philosophy is a football and goalie.
But I think to be fair, you probably, if you're looking at it, you're probably going to say, well, do you know what, we'll compromise a little bit on his kicking and his football because actually we want someone to stop it. Actually, the bouncy thing going in the net.
Yeah. Someone has a shot. It means
I mean, that double save against Southampton.
Oh. Well, some people are calling that a quadruple save. Yeah. That's a quadruple save in legend now. But it was a double or at least it's double. But his shot stopping is first class. He really has, as you say, saved those points.
And that to me, he's got him well in credit.
You can accept a couple of things.
Well, even against Sunderland, there was a couple of crosses when he was unopposed and dropped it and whatever.
And
it was the back pass, wasn't it? The back pass.
Yeah, the back pass. Yeah.
I don't know if it's like, you know, Harry Keel caught in the headlights type thing. You know, you go from a club where you're at top. Yeah. You're there number 1. Yeah. And you come into us, you've got to try and do it all over again and win people over. Is he trying too hard?
I think there's an element. There probably is an element. I think he'll be all right.
Yeah.
I think he'll be all right.
Looks nervous to me. Looks under pressure.
Yeah.
When it comes natural, someone shot a ball, boom, great save.
And he's out of his comfort zone with the ball at his feet, isn't he?
Yeah. But on crosses, he's rooted to his line. You know, the Man United goal wasn't all down to him. But the Sunderland goal, the Southampton goal, I felt as though, you know, that was headed awkwardly by their centre half on the 6-yard line. And
that's probably Reina coming out and having a punch at that, or at least getting his shoulder
do
against
something. Put them off, because Aguerd had already done a little bit. It needed someone else, and it didn't happen. But you know, as you say, if you're talking about points saved, points lost,
he's in credit.
He's well in credit. He's well in credit. So Aspas then.
Next.
Well, it's just a worry, isn't it? I mean, you got to give the lad. He's hardly played. You got to give him. But you know, we've all watched probably enough football that you sometimes your first impressions are the correct impressions, aren't they? You know, how often does a player change? You know, you probably had Lucas and Henderson to some extent have changed opinions from first impressions. But you know, you don't get many players changing your first impressions, do you?
That quick to release the ball. He just looks like kid playing against lads, doesn't he? Yeah. Kids against men. He gets the ball, and his first thing is, I don't want this. And just kicks it anyway, or tries to do a flick, or no.
It's funny in a way because I think when you think back to Luis Garcia, I think like Coutinho is like a better quality Luis Garcia who will try a few things and more often they come off more often than they did with Garcia. But Garcia didn't care about risking and making, and he'd make, you know, he'd be quite frustrating
overall.
And Aspas is the other side of Garcia to me, is he's trying things, but they just aren't coming off at all.
Hang on. Say Coutinho again.
Coutinho.
And you say Coutinho.
Coutinho.
No, you were calling him Coutinho before.
It's a sound, huh?
You call them Coutinho.
Coutinho.
It's just Coutinho. There's no EO at the end. There's no Brazilian.
Coutinho.
Coutinho.
Just call him Little Philly.
Okay, no, and
Did I just have a Coutinho?
the thing about it, to me, Aspas looks ungainly, looks nervous, lacks talent. Barini, who I spotted straight away in my
First impression.
First impression, no. And I'd actually credit Barini as looking more of a footballer than Aspas. But that's, you know.
I think the only thing about Little Barini there is, he was unlucky.
His movement was great,
yeah,
but he wasn't a goal scorer.
Alberto will be interesting if he gets a bit of a run.
You're saying Aspas hasn't had much of a run. Aspas has had a lot more football than Alberto.
Yeah, but I'm actually quite interested to see Alberto. I think he might actually have something to offer.
Do you know who Alberto reminded me of from a pace point of view? Who was the fella who we bought from Borussia Dortmund who was going to be the great? It was from Real Madrid we got him, but he was actually from Dortmund.
Nunes.
No.
Sahin.
And the first game, whoever Sahin came on and played for, he looked like he had lead in his legs.
He was always
runs on water. Yeah, he
arrived unfit.
He arrived unfit.
But then when he did get fit.
Exactly, and we were with Brendan Rodgers that week and he said, look, he wasn't fit and we threw him on, it looked it. But he didn't have the pace.
About half dozen games later, he
was still the same.
I said, he's fit now. Yeah. He's just the same.
And that's what Luis Alberto looked like to be, treading water on a pitch. But a nice football, a nice...
What about Jamie Renner used to win?
Yeah.
Didn't really get very far.
No. But again, he had another one, he had that bad injury and then he was always different. He had to change his game. But, the worrying thing, I suppose, but most managers are like it, the worrying thing is, we bought... If you look at the hit rates on his buying, it's probably, 30%? But most managers are 30%, I think.
With the Barini thing, putting him on loan or whatever, I just hope he bombs them out.
Sacco, Torre, Sturridge, Coutinho.
That's 4.
Yeah, against Mignolet, which we give him give him a positive. Yeah.
You got Aspas, Alberto. Who else he bought?
Sahin, he bought him out.
As well, he bought him out.
A few others. Asadi.
Yeah, maybe 50-50.
Yes, anyway, maybe 50. Listen to us moaning. We've won 5 out of 6 games, have we? Or 4 out of 5 in the league.
But Paul, it's not moaning because all the top clubs, when you're at a position of strength, you're just constantly, utterly looking to improve. I'm not moaning. I'm just constant. It's great being second. Come on, what else can we do to keep going forward? It's not moaning.
That's the last time I was on the show. You said it's Champions League football a real possibility. Now, I said no straight away.
Actually, you said yes, Graham.
I did, and we'll see at the end of the season.
Go ahead,
I honestly said no. I didn't think I had a chance. Now, I'm not saying without the hunt now, but I'm 25% more that it's a possibility. If something after Sludge and Suarez does go in January. But scoring goals, are we?
But the other thing that you're relying on, or we're relying on, is those other clubs that are now in a bit of turmoil. Staying in a bit of turmoil, or other clubs are challenging, getting into a bit of turmoil as well.
If we are in position of going for 4th in January, what do you think the owners will do? Do you think they'll give us money to push it on?
I think they will. I think they'll have to. I think, if they're serious about this, and that's where the league is in big pressure, is, if we are, let's say we're 3rd or 4th, the clamour, because it'll be a midfield clamour, won't it? Because it won't be any different. We'll be saying we need a midfield player.
It's true, but what Steve just said, if Suarez was to go, then in January...
I don't think that'll happen.
Well, I don't think that'll happen either.
I think they'll say, you're not going.
You're not going in January.
That's just to try and get us there.
The only thing that'll change will be, this is contractual discussion. If Liverpool are cute, they'll have the discussion...
At the season?
After January's transfer window. Because if you signed it before, then you can trigger any release clause.
My only worry is, I did say it last time on the show, is once January comes, all them teams and the last 16 Champions League will want him. Because he's the only world-class striker, not cup side. So why are you getting 60 million quid then? Is this silly offer coming in?
He goes, doesn't he? He does go.
And that is the only concern.
That's what I mean. I said he wouldn't go, but if you get a silly offer, and that is a silly offer.
But contrasting that, and it is dependent. If we're 5th, 6th, 7th, and it's all gone a bit shite, then, go ahead, off you go, Lewis, fair enough.
Cash in.
You're gone, and we're cashing in. If we're 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or possibly even 4th,
they've got to kick on, haven't they?
They've got to kick. What's the point in selling them? Because you're selling them, you're getting your 60 million, but you're actually pissing off 30 or 40 million of it by not qualifying.
It's almost like that Van Persie discussion where they sold him with a year to go on his contract, and he earned for 25 million because it was a year left on it. was almost an argument to say to him, let him go for free at the end of the season, because if he keeps you in the Champions
There's your
League
money.
places,
Yeah.
there's your 25 million you've lost anyway.
But
Now, as I said, they did it anyway.
Yeah, he stayed in anyway.
But that would be the same for us, wouldn't it? Our lot might say, well, you know, you're going to go for 40 in summer. Someone's coming with 60 now. Do you know what? That 20 million, we're just not going to cash that in.
Yeah.
Because if we keep you, that might be worth 20 million.
Yeah.
You stay, it might be worth 20 million at the end of the season.
It was interesting noting the comments of Stan Kroenke, or whatever his name is, the Arsenal chief executive this week. He gave us a sort of a backhanded compliment, which turned into a bit of a thing. He said, oh yeah, me and John Henry, you know, we got on fine, it's no problem, blah, blah, blah. He said, but overall, I can understand why Liverpool didn't sell him, because that's all they've got, you know, and if they sold him, what's left?
Yeah.
Which, in some respects, Jordan close season might have been true. But I don't think it is actually true, because Sturridge is kicking on, and we, you know, without Suarez, what did we win out of 10 states? 7?
Yeah.
I think we only lost one at Southampton.
And drew one, didn't we?
Lost one, drew one, so we won 8 without him. So it's not true what he's saying, but in a bigger picture scenario, you could possibly agree with him. And what Steve's just said is right. Last 16 of the Champions League, Suarez isn't in it. We're maybe out of contention for, you know.
Then you might cash in.
I don't think it's a question, man. I just think it's a known fact. He's gonna
go.
Yeah, he's gonna go. And,
you know, let's say we come third, and we're in the Champions League, and they sit down with him and they say new contract.
Write your own number.
And well, not just that, but also because if he's serious about wanting to be competitive, he'll also be saying to them when he's looking at what are you going to do in the summer? What's the investment going to be? Who are you thinking of bringing in? How are we going to play? What's your idea?
I mean, the only thing I had though is, you know, all them questions all depend on getting in that top 4.
Yeah.
I mean, that top 4 now is pretty much winning the league.
The whole league.
Yes, before about Everton. Everton play City away this weekend.
Do they?
They do indeed.
That's interesting.
I think that's the lunchtime kick-off.
That's good. Everything's good for us at the moment. It's great. Right, I'm conscious that everyone's been to work today, and we dragged the 2 lads over straight after work. So I'm going to draw it to a close unless there's anything anyone wants to spout off about, Graham.
I've got it off my chest. I'm fine.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm happy enough.
Graham is actually chomping at the bit to get Jay McKenna back in for his JV Graham show, so that he can rub his nose in it, because although Jay won the argument, so-called argument, over the Champions League spots, Graham is actually sitting pretty, and Graham wants a Lucas argument, don't you? Jay's a big supporter of Lucas, apparently. But anyway, so thanks very much to Graham, thanks very much to Steve, and that's it for the Rocket Review, and thanks very much to you for listening.